Hi everybody, it's Jennifer Badeaux. I am an online teacher for Orange County Virtual School, and I've taught for a few other districts in the past. A colleague of mine and I presented in February of 2020 at the Digital Learning Annual Conference, right before the pandemic started and everything kind of shifted to online learning. Oddly enough, this is a very timely presentation, so I've had quite a few requests for the material. And since it was live, a recording doesn't exist anywhere, so we wanted to present this so that people would have access to the material. So again, Crystal Martell and I presented this, and let me go through these slides for you so I can show you a little bit more about what we do and perhaps give you some ideas of what you can do in your online class. So again, Crystal Martell and I are both educators with Orange County Virtual Schools. We both have master's degrees in different things, and we've both been teaching online PE, health, fitness classes for quite a while now. So our classes that we currently teach range from middle school to high school, and they are HOPE classes is our most common one. We also have middle school fitness classes and PE classes, outdoor education, fitness, lifestyle, and design classes, personal fitness. But the one that we mostly focus on is the high school level HOPE, which is health opportunities through physical education. We generally have students anywhere from occasionally sixth graders, but generally seventh, eighth, and then throughout high school, since it is a graduation requirement where we are. So online teaching is not anything new. It is getting better. The material and the research has been out there for years talking about how wonderful teaching online is, how much it helps students. Physical education is a real thing. Making sure it's online is a great thing. You can see that there's various reasons for students to take the online classes, but there's a lot of research out there that dates back to, as you can see on the left, 2010, 2017, 2012. So it's been around a while. This presentation originally was done in Nearpod, which I love Nearpod, and I'm a Nearpod certified educator as well. So you can kind of see how it works within Google Slides. Obviously, this isn't live, so it won't be anything you can answer, but when you are taking a poll, it's a great way to have your audience interact as well as your students interact. So you can use Nearpod to have your students interact. So you have these different answers, and you can ask them to respond, and then you can share those responses out. So the options that we have for students right now in our virtual program are we have part-time students, we have lab students, and we have full-time students. They are pretty much what they sound like. Part-time students, they're usually taking a regular course schedule at their brick and mortar school and want to take something extra or take something in the summer. We also have labs where we go in and there's a facilitator there with them daily for a lab class period, but we'll go in about once a week to kind of talk to them, help them with assignments, maybe do some live lessons. And then we also have full-time students, which are students that take all of their classes online, and they do have virtual work days where they can come in if they need assistance as well. So the biggest thing here is engagement tools. Keep it interesting when it's online. You don't want to simply have a textbook that students are reading. That's no fun for anyone. You do have to have that information, but the way you can work it in becomes where you get creative. I use a lot of TED Talks in our lessons. We are working with eDynamic Learning for some of our lessons, and they do provide some TED Talks that go with the lessons. I generally take those TED Talks or find other ones, take that material, make a quiz about it, have them interact, and I am seeing that it's a great tool to use. The kids are actually watching them, and they can have a discussion with me about them. We do what is called a DBA, which is a discussion-based assessment. And in that, it's kind of a check to make sure that that student is doing their own work. They can talk to you about the lessons. They can talk to you about the material. It's just a check-in point. But a lot of them mention the TED Talks. They really like the TED Talks. They also really like the Nearpods. We use Canvas for our LMS right now, and there are some fantastic tools in Canvas that you can load, internal as well as external tools that you can use. BrainPop, YouTube videos, Kahoot games, and Big Blue Button. Big Blue Button is just one more recording option. It's actually what I'm using right now so that you can see the screen, you can record it, you can also use a webcam. It just is up to you. Screencastify, Screencast-O-Matic, or other options. There are tons out there, especially now. So here's a YouTube example that we use, and this is actually provided by the American Heart Association. It's a minute and 50-second video, and it goes through how you do hands-only CPR. It's presented in a funny way, an interactive way, and the kids really enjoy it. And I ask them questions about what they would do in those scenarios after. Don't forget to look for those sources that are out there that are made for educators. American Heart Association has them, MyPlate has them, the National Institute on Drug Abuse has them. So there's tons of materials out there that you can use royalty free for education. Here's an example like I was talking about, the TED Talks with quiz. This is a great body image TED Talk, and she talks about how she's a model and how she feels about being a model and how it's not everything, and even she has the self-esteem issues and things like that. So it's a great TED Talk. A lot of the students really appreciate this one, and then I built questions to go with it. Crystal and I build tons of Nearpods to go in our classes as well. This is an example of what you would see after a student takes your Nearpod. So you can see how well they do. You can see what answers they picked. You can see their percentage, and if they're correct, you can have an overall class grade as well as that student grade. So you can kind of see some information here. Nearpod also offers tons of pre-made content that you can use, and they have a great selection of the social emotional learning SEL stuff, and I use that a lot in the peer counseling classes as well. So there's a lot of material out there, and then don't forget you can create your own material in Nearpod. They also have some really great virtual field trips. So here's an example of an infographic quiz. A little while ago, I was talking about how all that material is out there that you can use from government agencies, especially for education. This is an example of one of those. In Canvas, I can do an infographic quiz by selecting a text block and asking a student a question. How many underage drinkers begin drinking before age 13? Well, here's the answer. So if they click anywhere in that square, they are going to get that answer correct. This is great because it doesn't really go back to any lesson. It's in the moment, but it gives them an idea and an ability to read an infographic, which we see more and more of those, but really we don't teach information on how to read these. So this is a nice way that they can see that information and they can react and interact with it for their answers. Crystal and I tag teamed a lot of our planning. Any good online planning for any course really takes a lot of conversation and a lot of work trying to figure out what needs to go in what. This is how we decided to do it. Again, we work a lot with Google, so this was a Google Sheet that we shared that we could keep up with when we created. So that is just something to keep in mind as far as your planning if you're taking your classes online. This part, again, is a Nearpod Live slide. This is an open-ended question that we asked the audience so that we could make sure that they were interactive and we were answering questions from the audience. So one of the biggest things that comes up often is how do you teach PE online? How do you make sure you're holding those students accountable? How can you make sure they're actually doing the exercises? Well, any teacher who's taught in the classroom for PE as well as online for PE will recognize that you're going to have some students that just don't want to be physically active. I think that online encourages those students even more to do them because if they are nervous about their ability or don't want to do it in front of other students or don't like the process of changing out for PE, they can pick activities that they like. You always will have some bench sitters when you go and teach PE in the classroom. You know, those students that have reasons why they can't participate pretty often. But this kind of works with those students and making sure that they are getting that activity and that they're understanding why that activity is important. We talk and create logs. We talk about it with our discussion-based assessments, but we also have created logs so that the students can talk about what exactly they are doing so that they can understand it and understand if that is a workout or if that is just everyday living. We talk about target heart rate zone and if they're really getting their heart rate up. And you'll see these different things that they log. One of my favorite ones is I rode my bike for 5 miles and it took me 6 hours, 3 hours, whatever. I'm like, okay, did you fall off? What? What? What do you mean? What do you mean? Okay, so you rode your bike so slowly that you wouldn't be moving forward, you would have fallen off. And they don't really understand that because they're just making up information. But it makes them go back and think about that and go, oh, okay, so that's not really going to work. I need to make sure that I'm getting my heart rate up, that, this is more likely. Cleaning my room and chores are another fun one. We live in Florida, so we get a lot of, I walked to the theme park for 7 hours, or I went to the beach for the day. So it's a lot of opportunity to talk about, well, how can you get activity in if you're in those situations? So you want to make sure that they understand what they're doing and what counts for PE. So here we have again in the Nearpod a memory test. So this was created in that Nearpod for everybody to react to, and there was matching points just to see what kind of activities that students could clearly create on their own or complete on their own. And then we also love to give students lots of choices for their activities. If you want to mow the lawn or you want to volunteer and it's something that's getting your heart rate up, then yeah, let's count that. I go to Second Harvest quite a bit, and believe me, I come out of there sweating from lifting boxes and moving things quite often. Now, my heart rate is not there the entire time, but some of it is. So, do you go to a neighborhood gym? Are you using some of the YouTube workouts that are available? Online, we actually, for our online school, we have a fitness club. So the kids can come in once a month and they can do fitness activities on the spot with us as well. Are they in a team sport? Are they a soccer player that goes for 3 hour practices 4 days a week? Are they learning TikTok dances? Because believe me, if you've tried to, those will get your heart rate up. And you can practice one of those dances for easily an hour at a time. Are they doing dance classes? What kind of things are they doing to get their heart rate up? So don't limit it to what you think they should do, but make sure that you're talking about things that they do and making sure that those activity choices do work. So that was the overall gist of our presentation. Here's our information on how to contact either Crystal or myself if you have any questions. And again, we teach with Orange County Virtual School. So we teach all these classes online. We teach them through the Canvas platform and through the Florida Virtual platform. But if you have any questions and there's a way that we can help you, or if you need an idea of something that we talked about in this presentation, just reach out. All right, let me know what other questions you have and how else we can help. Thanks.